Greetings, fellow captains. Welcome to FedEx Virtual Air Cargo. This is Jeff, FedEx 1171. Today we're just going to be doing a brief tutorial on how to download and install the Virtual Air Financials pilot client, or VAFS5 if you will. So let's go ahead and get right to it. First things first, we're going to need to go to their website. And I will put this link down in the description below for you. On their home page here, you can see this big blue button here, VAFS5 Client Download. We're just going to hit that. That'll take us to the downloads page here. It's right here, Pilot Client Download and Installation Instructions. So if anywhere you get lost, there are some installation instructions here. Very easy to read, very easy to follow as well. But first, what we're looking for is going to be the VAFS5 Pilot Client. It says here, hyperlinked in blue. You click that, that's just going to bring up your downloads, whatever you're using there. And you can save that. Now I usually just save this over to the desktop, so it's nice and easy to find. One other thing that you're going to need as well is going to be FSUIPC. Again, I will put this down in the description below. FSUIPC is the link, if you will, between Flight Simulator and any outside programs such as Virtual Air Financials or VAFs. Allows them to talk, allows them to pull information together and work. So what you're looking for here is going to be this FSUIPC 4.9 link here. Again, you just click that, it's going to bring up your downloads, and again you can save that to your desktop. Pretty easy. Once we've got these downloaded to the desktop, you can see here FSUIPC 4. We're going to extract this. And what you're looking for is this install FSUIPC 4. We're going to go ahead and install that first. FSUIPC is a very easy to install program. You just click on it. Well, for you guys that are running Windows and Windows Vista and Windows 7, you're going to right click and use Run as Administrator. Always want to install everything running as administrator on Vista and Windows 7. The installation again is pretty simple. Just use the following, use the on-screen instructions. Go ahead and just install that. Now at the very end, it's going to ask you to register the product. You don't need to do that. You can just hit cancel, and that'll close it down. You're done. Pretty simple. Next is going to be our VAFS5 setup here. Again, right-click, Run as Administrator. That's going to bring this little guy up, and you just select your installation language, hit OK, and go. Again, very easy to run, very easy to install. There's really no sense in going through that with you. Just follow the on-screen instructions, and you can figure that out. Once we've got that done, we can go ahead and open up. We're going to actually go to the installation for VAFS5. For most of you guys, it should be in your C. For you guys that are running 32-bit, it's going to be inside the program files here. For us that are running 64-bit, it's going to be right inside program files times 86. I'm just going to open this up, scroll down till you see the VAFS5 file here. And we're going to scroll down again. Right here is VAFS5's executable file. We're going to right click on this, go to Properties. Again, this is for you folks that are running Windows Vista and Windows 7. Right click, go to Properties, Compatibility tab, and you're going to tick the Run this program as administrator. You can also go to Change Settings for all users and tick it there, hit Apply, OK, and OK. That's going to allow VAFS5 to run as administrator every time you open it. Next, we are going to open up the pilot client itself right here. Again, we're running as an administrator. If you followed the instructions thus far, then you will need to right click. Now, when you first signed up with FedEx Virtual Air Cargo, you were given a welcome email. Inside that welcome email is a link for you to go through and register yourself with Virtual Air Financials. That allowed you to choose a username and a password. That username and password that you chose is what you're going to use here to fill in these fields. Again, username, password. I like to use this little remember me, so I don't have to type this in every time. Once you've got that in there, you just go to log in. You can see everything is going to show you right down here is connected, login successful, looking good. The first page is going to bring you to right here is your pilot information. We got two spots here. One across the top shows name, your rank, your call sign, VA name, everything like this. If you were running your flight simulator at the time, it would show your flight sim status. Instead of these being no, it would show yes on certain ones. So also pilot information is here as well. Pilot name, call sign, rank. Everything else, your pilot rating, our virtual air rating, and your current location. Now, your current location is the last place you landed. You can see here the last place I landed was in Seattle, and we'll get back to that here in a brief moment. Over to the right hand side, you've got your virtual airline news. This is all the important information or such things as events that are going on, any NOTAMs that we put out, anything like that will show up here. Pretty neat little tab, something to keep an eye on. The next tab over is going to be your pilot logbook. VAFS does a brilliant job of going through and saving everything for you. So if you want to go back and look at these, you can see here it's going to show you your flight numbers, departed, arrived airport, the aircraft type that you flew at that time, the flight distance, flight time, and the date that you flew that. So some pretty nice information there for you. Next is going to be the VAFS options tab. This is probably the most important what this tutorial is doing today. We need to go through and set this up before we can take our first flight. The VA options, these are things that are set up by FedEx Virtual Air Cargo. And these are not options that you can change. Down below that, however, are the options that you need to change. Your show weights and following units, either pounds or kilograms, distances, nautical miles, miles or kilometers. How you want to end the flight. So after you've completed the flight and you're back at the on the cargo ramp, how do you want VAFS to stop recording your flight? You've got either parking brake or engine shutdown. That is completely up to you. You also need to set your flight sim version, either Flight Simulator X or Flight Simulator 9. If you're using WideFS, you need to choose one of these here, or X-Plane. Okay, pretty easy so far. Now the VAFS sounds, I've got mine off, quite frankly. Have never had those on, so I couldn't tell you what they sound like. Feel free to experiment. The display messages, these are going to be messages that will show up at the top left hand corner of your flight simulator as you're going through. It'll let you know when you're able to start your engines, what your time, what time it was when you took off, what time it was that you landed, your vertical speed upon landing, that kind of deal. So pretty neat there. Also, your VAFS saving your VAFS flights every 5 minutes. This is pretty important, especially for you guys that do these long haul flights. If something happens and your flight sim crashes down, VAFS is able to store that information, so that way you can go to the last point that it's stored and continue from there. You don't have to do the whole 2 to plus hour flight all over again. And once you've finished completing all your setups here, all of your options, you're going to hit Save Options. Also, over here at your Flight Sim Airport Scenery Database, we want to guide this. Just you hit this little button here. This is you want to browse this to your main FSX folder, and then hit OK. Once you do that, it's going to build a database based on your scenery files of Flight Simulator. And this is just to give you more accurate information as far as airport information, runway information, that kind of stuff, which we'll show you here in just a minute. Once we've got all this completed, your next tab over is your jump seat. I'll show you what this is. It's really not necessary here for for FedEx Virtual Air Cargo, as really jump seating costs you money. We don't require that you jump seat somewhere, so this is really not relevant. The next tab over is going to be Start New Flight. So we'll just go to this here. This is going to take just a little bit to light up and retrieve all the data. There we go. Now when it first starts, when you first come to this, it's going to show you everything that's departing the airport that you last landed at, again, mine being Seattle. Let's say today I don't want to take off from Seattle. Rather than jump seating, we don't require that you leave the last airport that you landed at. So what we can do, we got this filter routes over here. We drop this box down. We got routes at my location is where it starts at. My dispatched flights. Dispatched flights are like our maintenance flights, anything like that that's been dispatched for you. Just a side note, dispatch flights will need to be flown before you can take any other flight. If you click that, it will show you if you have any dispatch flights. Booked flights, we don't do any booking here, so don't even worry about that. As well as the show code share routes, we don't do anything with code share, so don't worry about those either. What we're looking for today is going to be this right here, the show all routes. We go ahead and click that. This is going to take just a little bit to populate and retrieve all this. We've got tons and tons of flights all around the world, and right now it's retrieving all of them. There we go. So again, let's say today I want to take off from Oakland. What we can do, we got a couple of different, if I know the flight number, we can sort by flight number here, departing, arriving, airports, whatever, distances, aircraft, and so on and so on. So I can either go to departing, either ascending or descending, and scroll the way through, or I've got this filter routes right up here as well, where I can just put in the departure ICAO code. For Oakland is going to be KOAK, and hit filter, and this will go through and bring me up just the Oakland flights, just like that. Okay, so let's say today I want to go from Oakland to Anchorage. I'm going to sort the arriving, scroll down till I see PANC, which is the ICAO code for Anchorage. I don't want to take this right here, this MD-11 flight, FedEx 2074. Again, we're retrieving flight information. Okay. Now that this is populated, you can see here we've gotten some more information that's popped up. You're never, again, we're a cargo airline, you're never going to see anything as far as anything other for first class passengers, business class, or economy class. We don't do passengers, as well as the booked seats over here. We're showing here that the MD-11 max payload is just over 200,000. Our estimated expenses for this flight is going to be 46,000, just over. Again, right now our current payload shows 0 and our total revenue shows 0. We haven't done anything yet there. So shows our flight number, scheduled type, all your other information is over here as far as max payload. Again, some redundancy here, but still good information. Estimated distance is 1749 nautical miles, and availability is every day of the week, so that's nice. Once we've confirmed this is the one I want to take, we're going to go to continue with selected route down here. This is going to come up. Now this is where we're going to choose our cargo. Now with cargo, again, we can sort up here if we need to. For this deal here, you've got, it shows cargo type, cargo weight, cargo revenue, fragile, and hazmat. Now the fragile and hazmat, you can see how our windows and doors here show yes on fragile but no on hazmat. Anytime you've got a yes on either or both of these, other flight rules come into play as far as bank, angle of attack, that kind of thing. Landing rates, you've got to be within a certain area, and otherwise you can damage the cargo, therefore costing the airline money, and we'll get to that here in just a momentarily. So our max payload here is 200,000, just over. We need to choose some cargo here that's going to put us pretty close. So let's just say we'll go some drums of fuel. We're showing here it's going to be 105,000 pounds and bringing in a cargo revenue of just under $342,000. And gosh, for the heck of it, let's go with some stone sculptures. Now you're seeing down here at current payload weight, we're getting fairly close to our limit, so we can go ahead. I'll show you what happens if you go over. It says that you've had too much cargo loaded for this flight, and then this is going to turn red for you. It's not going to allow you. This is going to gray itself out and not allow you to take that flight until you've corrected that issue. So again, we just want to get close to it. It doesn't need to be right on. We'll just go ahead and say yay, this is all, and move on. Go to select cargo and go to pre-flight. This little pop-up is going to come up again telling you that you have chosen cargo that's hazardous or fragile. This is going to be bank angle below 31 degrees, pitch below 20 degrees, and must have a landing rate of under 300 feet per minute, or your cargo will be severely damaged. Again, something else just to keep a really close eye on. Once we've agreed to that, we can just go ahead and hit OK. And this brings us to our pre-flight screen. Again, you've got some information: pilot number, pilot call sign. It is important to note, pilots, that when you're flying on VAFS5 to fly by your pilot call sign, not the flight number. The reason for this is if something happens and we need to get into the system, it's a whole lot easier to find you by your call sign rather than the flight number. Just a side note there. So again, aircraft information is another one. Pilot information, who you are, where your service is from and to. Maximum payload, again, just over 200,000, and your current payload of what you've chosen to be just under 196,000. Your estimated flight time is going to be 3 hours 34 minutes. Flight distance 1,749 nautical miles. If you had flight simulator running at this point, the aircraft ready to fly would say yes, and you want to make sure that your plane is on the cargo ramp at your departure airport with the engine shut down, and this would be a yes here as well. Okay. The other tab is going to be your cargo and passengers. This is going to show you everything you've chosen. Airport weather information, we won't worry about that. Airports and navigation, again, this is one of those things, when you let it build that database from your airports before, this is going to give you this kind of information here. It's going to show you everything you need to know there. Just kind of a handy little tool. And then we have found that the fuel planner here is not very accurate. There are other places on the web to find that, so we won't even get into that today. Go back to your pre-flight tab once you've agreed with everything here, and you decide, yes, this is the one I want to take. I'm ready to go. My plane's ready, and we're ready to fly. We're going to hit start this flight. Now once you hit start this flight, you're going to see a little deal come up in the top left hand corner of your flight simulator. That's going to tell you that your engines are ready to start. Once your engines come on board and they're fired up, that's when VAFS is actually going to start to track you. Guys, it's a pretty simple deal. Again, I hope this tutorial has been informational. We'll have other tutorials that are going to go a little bit more in depth on certain things, and as well as the Pilot Center located on the Virtual Air Financial Systems website. If you have any questions, feel free, meet up with us on either TeamSpeak, or you can send in a support ticket via the website on the support system tab. Again, guys, I hope this has been informational for you. Don't hesitate to ask questions if you've got them, and we look forward to seeing you in the air.